This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
Our safety show, where the truth burns louder than the noise. Fire in the static, breaking through the haze. Dr. J. Allen's voice cuts like a blade. No sugar, no fluff, just raw and brave. The truth's got teeth and it won't behave. Vision clock and safety locks. The grind don't stop. The grind don't stop. Ready, our safety show.
Following program is rated MA-LSV. It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, you so know it, and so do I. It does not matter who the host is. What has always mattered is who the listeners are. Anyways, today's Thursday, October the 30th. Of 2025, day 303rd of the year, and only 62 days left to go. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and going, hanging out in that multiverse of ours and hanging out with those people over there as well.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Oh, yes, infiltration and radio big, kind of the combo of things that we do. So there you go. It is day 303rd of the year. I don't remember if I said that or not, but only 62 days left to go. Anyways, how have you been? How's the last 24 been for you? Because it's always a good time as we are talking and trying to figure all out that mess. No doubt about that. So how are things? No, seriously, how are things? Are you taking a pause for the cause? Because you know that we're close to that weekend thing. And then if you're looking around, tomorrow is also Halloween, where it becomes kind of more interesting as we get to do some of the stuff there. No doubt about it. So as we are hanging out, let's talk about this real quick. Our show consists of safety in the news and safety. That's just kind of the way that we go about all the stuff that we do around here. No doubt about that one. So as we go through that process, we're going to give you a little of this and a little of that. And when people go, what does that even mean? Well, we're going to talk a little bit about everything. And that's kind of what we do on this little show of ours. We kind of get into a main story where we bring you the main portion of what we want to talk about, but we're bringing you everything else as we are talking too. So don't worry about that. And then just to get ahead, tomorrow we'll talk about everything that we didn't get to earlier in the week. And it seems as of late we talk more and do less. Yeah, seems that way. Seems that way for sure. So with that being said, I have some people that we bring in that are from Feature Story News, and they tell us a little bit about everything that's going on. But don't worry, because they're kind of the professionals around here. They talk about everything in regards to what's going on inside of the world, and we need to make sure that, we are doing our thing. So don't worry about that. Also, was I supposed to play this? I think I was supposed to play this. You want to hear it? Let's hear it now.
Welcome to Thursday. Today, we blow the roof off of this frequency.
Okay, so I guess we're blowing some roofs off frequencies today is what it sounds like. So we'll do that as we are talking. So I guess before I get into the news, I want to reference this because we're already getting word of the year. And I'm kind of confused by some of it, so let's talk about it. Word of the year. Dictionary.com has officially crowned 6-7, also written as 6-7 or 67, as its word of the year, as a slang phrase made popular by Gen Alpha. And it means so, maybe, or exactly the act of exclamation, according to Dictionary.com, Steve Johnson. 6-7 isn't just a slang, it's an emotional outburst, a way to connect with people before fully they agree on what it means. The phrase also often a hand and palm gesture thing. So take a listen to this.
6-7. Do your kids say 6-7? Oh no, they're too young.
No, what's 6-7?
It's some stupid TikTok thing.
What?
6-7.
What?
Thank you. What?
Why is it funny?
No, it's not. It's
Spoon.
stupid. It's so stupid. Oh, thanks.
But I don't.
It doesn't.
When would they say it?
Oh my God, I've corrupted your brain with it. They just say it. Do your kids not just say stupid stuff all the time? And you're like, what does that
They're
mean?
not. They kind of don't know what TikTok is yet.
That's just you wait.
6-7. So like if you go, do you want some potatoes? They go 6-7.
Yeah, they think it's hilarious.
Okay, so there you go. If you don't know, hopefully we have helped you know now. But I'm always behind when it comes to crap like that, so there you go. Anyways, let's get into the news because it's the news cycle right now.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in New Delhi, I'm Ishan Garg. US President Donald Trump has met Chinese President Xi Jinping in South Korea. This comes as the US has been targeting China for its import restrictions on critical minerals, and Beijing has been hoping for a reduction on US tariffs. Laura Westbrook tells us more.
It's the first since Donald Trump began his second term in office, and since then we've seen tensions really rise between the world's two biggest economies. Donald Trump has also indicated that an agreement could include lowering those 20% tariffs on Chinese goods that are related to the illegal drug fentanyl. But high on Donald Trump's priority will be rare earths. Now, China has gone into this meeting leveraging its chokehold on these critical minerals that are used in everything from smartphones to EVs to missiles and drones by announcing that it was expanding restrictions on rare earths.
The US Federal Reserve has cut interest rates by 1/4 of a percentage point, now in the range of 3.75 to 4%. It's the second reduction this year and an indication that the central bank is willing to sacrifice potentially higher prices for a more stable job market, which has weakened in recent months. Tony Waterman has more.
Chairman Jerome Powell stressed that the central bank is in a challenging situation as it tries to balance its dual mandate of maximum employment and stable prices. He also made it clear that another rate cut in December is far from a foregone conclusion. Powell sees upside risks for inflation, pegged in part to tariffs. The Fed made its decision without key pieces of economic data, like the September jobs report, which isn't being collected, analyzed, or released during the government shutdown. Powell admitted that the central bank won't have a granular understanding of the economy until the government reopens.
Exit polls suggest that 38-year-old Rob Jetton's Liberal D66 party is on track to win the Dutch elections. The far-right anti-immigration PVV, led by firebrand Geert Wilders, look set to come second, but in a far weaker position than the last election 2 years ago. William Denslow reports from The Hague.
Following a late surge in the polls, Rob Jetten now has a chance to become the Netherlands' youngest and first openly gay Prime Minister. The former climate minister has positioned his D66 party as an alternative to Wilders and the far-right politics that dominated the political landscape over the past 2 years. Wilders pulled his PVV party out of the 11-month-old coalition back in June due to a row over migration. Wednesday's results show the Dutch electorate remains hugely polarised, and with no party getting close to the 76 seats needed for a majority, a coalition government must now be formed. William Denslow, The Hague.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks. Today, remembering the actress Prunella Scales, whose death was announced this week at the age of 93. She will be best remembered as Sybil Fawlty in Fawlty Towers, the comedy where she starred alongside John Cleese as they played the hapless married couple trying to run a hotel on England's south coast. In May 2017, Prunella Scales recalled her first conversation with John Cleese about the project.
He said, "Is there anything you want to ask me about the script?" And I said, "Well, yeah, why did they ever get married?" And he sort of put a pillow over his head and said, "Oh, God, I was afraid you were going to ask that." And he couldn't tell me. But I think it may have been my idea that she should be a bit less posh than him, because we couldn't see otherwise what would have attracted them to each other. And I had a sort of vision of her family being in catering on the south coast, you know, and her working behind a bar somewhere. And he being demobbed from his national service and going in for a drink, and she fancied him because he was so posh. And they sort of thought they'd get married and run a hotel together, and it was all a bit sort of romantic and idealistic. And the grim reality then caught up with them.
Fawlty Towers only ran for 12 episodes, which is one of the hallmarks of its brilliance. Prunella Scales had a long theatre career and won critical acclaim for lots of other television, but to so many of us, she will always be remembered as Sybil. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
FSN is an independent source of news for TV, radio and digital networks worldwide. You can find more of our minute-by-minute updates on Twitter. Follow us there at Feature Story. And we have a wealth of audio and video stories from our global news bureaus on Facebook. You can find us there by following Feature Story News. Stay tuned for further updates right here, but for now, that is the latest Feature Story News. Ishan Garg reporting.
Listen to our host of the Rated R Safety Show. Self-implode on our airwaves, only on Safety FM.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
This isn't a safety manual. It's a transmission. Jay Allen, PhD, host of the Rated R Safety Show and founder of Safety FM, has spent years pulling back the curtain on the systems we work in and the ones we don't talk about. What started as a fatal crash on the 405 became a search for truth through behavior-based safety, human and organizational performance, simulation theory, and everything in between. Safety, in my opinion, is raw, reflective, and real. From burnout to breakthroughs, from the matrix to the moment someone says, "This doesn't feel right." This book doesn't give you answers. It hands you the signal. Safety, in my opinion. Available now, wherever books and audiobooks are found.
Hey there, there. Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
You ever hit the wall, burnout, stressed, or just feeling that everything is piling up and thought, yeah, I probably need to talk to someone? The problem is finding the therapist who actually takes your insurance feels impossible at times. That's where Rula comes in. Rula is a healthcare company that makes mental health care easy to access and actually affordable. They partner with over 100 insurance plans, so the average copay is about $15 a session, sometimes even less. With Rula, you get matched with the right therapist for you, not just whoever's available. Their network has over 15,000 licensed professionals, and you can book an appointment as soon as tomorrow. No wait list, no frustrations, just therapy that works with your schedule and your insurance. Thousands of people are already using Rula to get affordable, high-quality therapy that actually covered by insurance. Visit Rula.com/safetyfm to get started. After you sign up, you'll be asked how you heard about them. Please support our show and let them know that we sent you there. That's RULA.com/safetyfm. You deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget. Go to Rula.com/safetyfm right now to get started. That's RULA.com/safetyfm, because you deserve mental health care that works with you, not against your budget.
Radio Big. USA, Canada, UK.
Okay, here we go. 18 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging out on this lovely Thursday. Let's get into some new stuff right away, because that seems like the cool thing that the cool kids are doing, so probably we should follow along. Astronaut legend Buzz Aldrin's wife, Dr. Anka Farr, has passed away at the age of 66, just 2 years after the couple married. According to a family statement and is shared on Facebook, Farr died peacefully on Tuesday, surrounded by her husband and her son. Farr had accomplished chemical engineer with a PhD from the University of Pittsburgh, serving as executive vice president of Buzz Aldrin's Ventures LLC and treasurer of the California Hydrant Business Council. Aldrin now is 95. Expresses heartbreak. I am so fortunate to have found and married my love. The love of my life. She brought joy to everything we did together. I will miss her dearly. The couple first met back in 2017 at work event that began dating in 2018 and married in 2023. Aldrin, 93 at the time, in a small, intimate ceremony. At the time, Aldrin described her as having the whole Wizard of Oz package: brains, heart, and courage. Farr was originally from Romania, where she studied organic chemistry before coming to the U.S. to complete her doctorate, and her career spanned nearly 2 decades at Johnson Matthey and leading sustainable technologies firms. So there you go. Some things to think about for sure. So terrible to hear about the passing. No doubt about that. Take a listen to this. Appeals court reconsiders ruling letting Trump send troops to Portland.
Yeah.
Let's see. A federal appeals court has agreed to reconsider a recent decision that would have allowed President Trump to deploy National Guard troops to Portland, overturning the prior order that blocked the move. Earlier this month, Judge Karen, yeah, not a joke, had banned the administration from sending the troops. But on October the 20th, three-judge panel of the 9th District Court or Circuit Court of Appeals is pausing her ruling, saying that it hadn't shown enough defense to the president's authority to enforce the federal law. The administration argued the ongoing protests were the obstructing of ICE agents from making arrests. The 2-1 panel ruling made by judges appointed during the Trump's first term. The dissenting judge, Susan P. Grabber, a Clinton appointee, urged the full bank review a hearing before 11 judges. Both the Portland plaintiffs and Grabber claimed that earlier ruling violated Oregon's sovereignty and the rule of law. Chief Judge Mary H. Berguya announced the majority of the active judges voted to rehear the case in bank, vacating the previous ruling. A new hearing date has not been set yet. The White House has said that it is expected that the court to uphold Trump's legal authority, stating that amidst ongoing violent riots and lawlessness, the president is acting lawfully to protect the federal officers and property. So there you go. As you know, this will not be done anytime soon, so don't worry about that. Okay, take a listen to this one. In Washington, D.C., President Trump top health officials Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said there isn't enough scientific evidence to confirm that Tylenol causes autism, but advisors that the common pain reliever should and still be used cautiously, especially during pregnancy. Kennedy comments that follows the warning of last month's urging pregnant women to avoid Tylenol. So there you go. A claim that rattled markets and sparked backlash from medical professionals since the president did not cite scientific evidence. Kennedy said that current studies, including animal blood and observational research, are suggestive, not to be conclusive, adding that a cautious approach is appropriate while more data is being gathered. The issue heated up by further after the Texas filed lawsuits against Kenvue, the company that makes Tylenol, spun off by Johnson & Johnson in 2023. The state accuses the company of misleading consumers about the potential development risk. Kenvue strongly denies the connection between Tylenol and autism, warning that the false claims could harm maternal health and discouraging safe pain management. The company emphasizes the Tylenol labels already advises consulting with healthcare providers during pregnancy and urged the FDA not to add an autism warning into it. This is where it gets kind of interesting, because when you start quoting shit that you say that this is what's going on and you don't give scientific research, it becomes kind of difficult to do. And listen, I know that some people will sit around and go, well, all marketing is good marketing. All press is good press. Or hold on. All press is good press regardless of what's going on. Not a true statement, so just keep that in mind. So as we are talking. Okay. So we're going to continue talking because apparently we're just in the politics zone. Senate votes to nullify Trump's Canada tariffs. The U.S. Senate narrowly passed the 50-46 resolution yesterday to nullify President Trump's tariff on Canadian goods, signaling deepening tensions between the president and some members of its own party trade. The vote was backed by all Democrats and 4 Republicans, Lisa Murkowski, Susan Collins, and Mitch McConnell and Ron Paul. It's largely symbolic. The measure won't take effect because the House Republicans can block it from coming to a vote, and Trump would veto it anyways. Still, the move serves as a political statement exposing the cracks of the GOP unity over Trump's aggressive use of emergency powers to impose tariffs. So it's going to get interesting before it gets even weirder than it already is. Think about it in that way. Okay, so let's talk about some news of the weird because, you know, this is kind of what we have to do. Schoolgirl. Yeah, schoolgirl suffers mental illness after watching a horror movie at school. In China, a family sued the daughter's school after the girl developed an acute and transient psychotic disorder, allegedly triggered by a horror movie shown in the class while the teacher was on leave. The girl reportedly became incoherent and detached from reality the night after the screening, leading to her parents to rush her to the hospital. With no family history of mental illness, the parents blamed the film and demanded 30,000 won, $4,200 in damages, accusing the school of neglecting the duty to protect its students. The school argued the bore only minimal responsible, saying that the incident was due to the child's special condition, or special constitution is what it says. However, a Chinese court ruled that the school was 30% at fault for approving the movie and ordered them to pay 9,182 won, which is $1,300 in compensation. So somewhere in China, a teacher is now screening Finding Nemo on a loop. I mean, I'm just saying. This will be the best thing to do. The scariest part wasn't the film. It was a school legal bill, and at least the kid didn't have to write a review. Next semester's themes is comedy only by court order. Imagine explaining to a judge, Your Honor, it was just The Conjuring. And nothing says education like trauma with popcorn, and the kid didn't just fail the test. The school failed the vibe check on what the hell was going on.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
You know, as we get some more news stories in, you never know what the hell's going to happen. Take a listen to this. Flight attendant is looking for a husband and hopes to meet him midair. So there you go. Noelle is globetrotting. A flight attendant, whoever career is flying high, but those who are looking for love, whose love life is still stuck on the runway. The 25-year-old beauty who goes by Flying Noelle on Instagram. You know that this shit's going to get all over the place. Flying Noelle on Instagram, where she racked up nearly 500,000 followers, says that she's officially on the look for a husband. And that she hopes that they might be sitting at seat 2A. So you know how many people are going to book that shit. Noelle says that her dream is to meet her soulmate mid-flight. Maybe we catch each other's eye at the airport. It would be like a Destiny on autopilot. The high-flying romantic admits that she's drawn to older men, especially those with a little salt and pepper. And confident, funny streak. Her idea of the perfect date, cocktails on the beach, of course, though she makes them around $100,000. Well, hold on. She makes around $100,000. It doesn't say what, a month. Noelle insists that money that she makes around $100,000, but I don't understand the stupid logo because it's not dollars a month. Noelle insists money isn't what matters. She's after connections, chemistry, and laughter. The jet setter model says that she had her share of in-flight flirting, including one passenger who slipped her a note with his number on a coffee-stained napkin. Despite the countless suitors 35,000 feet, Noelle says that she's still holding hope for the once-in-a-lifetime spark. I'm hoping that it's one day the right person that will step into the flight and change everything. So think about this for a moment. What kind of airline is she working for that this is going to be okay? So, of course, you know that I'm pulling up on my phone what the hell, this is, because that's is going to intrigue me the whole time on what is going on inside of here. And I'm pretty sure that this one is going to be all over the place. So, yeah, Flying Noelle is what it is. I don't know. It's kind of one of those weird ones because
this on a short flight, like it was about.
I don't know if this is really the starting phase of looking for a date or you're starting your OnlyFans. I'm not sure which one I'm looking at here. No doubt about that.
You are listening to a radio god. What? This has to be an error. That host is not a radio god. Anyways, this is the Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Okay, take a listen to this one. Hedda Sydney, a 44-year-old tattoo artist from Munich, Germany, has spent nearly 25 years transforming her body into a living art project. The process, she admits, that it made her look like jumbled Christmas tree. What started with a single tattoo at the age of 18 into a full-blown passion for extreme body modification, including inked eyeballs, subdural skull implants, and countless piercings. Over the years, Heidi says that she's invested around 17,500 euros into this transformation, though working in the industry has helped her get major discounts. She even performed some of her work herself, including the skull implant, and on the back of her hands, her intricate look now combines tattoos, piercing, implants, scarifications to create what she describes as one continuous harmonious image, like a marionette doll wearing a swimsuit and stockings, but being a living artwork comes with reaction of the range of awe to shock. Heidi says that most people fascinated by her tattoos, especially the tattoos in her eyes and her implants. I'm wondering what kind of implants we're talking. And while others can help out, but gas and stare. It's not for everyone, and she admits that still her transformation isn't finished. She's got a few hard to reach spots to cover. Heidi puts it this way: she's not just making art; she is the art. So I guess that's one way to look at it when it's all said and done. Okay, where do we want to go? We got a couple more here. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do the WTF. Welcome to Florida. Florida woman is taking SeaWorld Orlando to court after a duck allegedly flew into her face while she was riding at the park at Mako roller coaster, knowing that knocking her unconscious. The lawsuit says that SeaWorld is to warn riders about the risk of bird strikes, which are apparently more likely on this particular roller coaster thanks to its 73 mile per hour speed over the water design and approximately the actual duck territory. The complaint calls the zone of danger. The collision with the duck, gulls, and geese, basically a high-speed fly zone. She's asking for $50,000 in a jury trial, claiming that the permanent physical and emotional injuries. Interestingly, though, SeaWorld never reported the incident to state regulators who require serious theme park injuries to be logged. And it isn't that Mako's first lawsuit. Last month, a child was reportedly struck in the face by a flying object from another rider, later developed PTSD. So here you go. She didn't buy the duck encounter package, but she got it anyways, is what it sounds like. And let's see, the duck said, if you can fly with us, you can ride near our pond. And when the ride hits 73 miles per hour, the duck hits back. Guess she got billed and bruised. You get it? Florida, where the ducks have road rage. And that's one way to make a splash at SeaWorld. You must be, this tall to take the ride, but no one told us about the duck. Forget the bird watching. This was bird dodging, as you're on lockdown, is what it sounds like. So there you go. Anyways, 32 minutes past the top of the hour, and you never know what we're going to talk about. So let's get into it right now, because I think that this is going to be our main story.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, let's talk about this, because I always find things interesting, especially when we get to a Thursday during a week, of what exactly we're going to talk about. Because listen, we've already talked about this week and that and the other, and then we get to a point that we're going to think, okay, we have to cover some stuff that hasn't been covered yet. So let's start covering, because what else are we going to do? So here we go. Let's talk about some things on how we default back regardless of what's going on. And I have such a hard time and a struggle about this that I feel like we talk about this pretty often. But I think that it's a subject of necessity, and not because we just need to continue repeating something. It's just one of those things that I take a look at it and I go, if we don't talk about this, at no point are we ever going to do anything if it's not addressed now. So this is why we cover this. But why do we have this habit of learning something and then defaulting back to what we were doing? So we go to a course, we go to a class, and we say we are here to learn this. And then we decide that even though we learned X, we default back to what we were doing previously. I always like talking to people, especially because of the stuff that we do inside of the safety world. and talk about how you have to change going forward. Some people go as far as calling this backsliding, which I can almost find it as a religious term because that's where I heard it originally. But it's going back to what you were programmed to do. And listen, I know that there are people out there that will hate this next part about those personality reports that you can get. But it's almost like that. There's some of them that talk to you about how you interact with others and how you will change the way that you are because of interacting with others. But because when you're by yourself, you will change the way that you are because it's just you. Not saying that in a bad way, so let's just bear with that. So I think about this and I go, well, how do we look at all of this and make it make sense? Why is it that we default back to what we think that at one point did not work, but continue to move forward with it? Because look at it for a moment. What we do at work should not be, and I better tread lightly with that, should not be a popularity contest. It should be based on things that will work to keep people safer. It's to change the environment. It is to change the culture. But we have this terrible standpoint where we want to default back to what we did, to what we do, to what we were doing before. But then we realize at some point that it did not get us to where we wanted to be. So as you look at this today, can you think of a moment in time and go, okay, we're trying to get out of X and to move into the next phase, but we're defaulting back to what we did before? That is the most common problem. But the question always becomes, how do you go about changing it? How do you go about making the world better? How do you go about changing things without it becoming a total cluster F, quote unquote, on the things you're trying to do? That's the thing that we have to talk about. Why is it that we focus on change, but we don't focus on what the core things are? And it's almost like putting stuff through a filter. I know that occasionally we talk about core principles here, but it's almost like everything revolves around that. You have to constantly think about the decisions that you're making. Are they based on the core principles on what you're trying to establish inside of your organization? And I'm even willing to go as far as saying, are the core principles, whatever you're applying, even going with your personal life? Because that's where some people have struggles. That's where some people sit back and go, oh shit, I didn't think about it that way. But that is the gig. What are your core principles? And do they bring value to what you're trying to do? Because if they're not, and you're not focusing on those as you're making decisions on trying to change everything, that could be the biggest problem of them all.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You're listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
In safety, in my opinion, you woke up. You saw the system, the simulation, the structure that trained you to mistake compliance for care. Safety mutation. Information misdirection picks up where the signal fractured. Because the system didn't shut you down, it rebranded you. It packaged your voice, sold your rebellion as a new initiative, and smiled while doing it. This isn't a manual. It's a decoded transmission about what happens when slogans replace stories, when safety becomes marketing, and when truth gets mirrored so perfectly, you forget it was ever yours. You'll see the mutation. Learning teams turned into theater, zero harm turned into optics, and feedback turned into formatting. But the signal didn't die. It was redirected. Safety Mutation is Book 2 of the Signal Transmission Trilogy. Available now in print, Kindle, and audiobook. Narrated by the author J. Allen, Ph.D. Because the system adapted. Now it's your move.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly. Less than $2 a month and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hacked? Is your safety trainer still preaching a warped version of behavior-based safety? How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetywars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
Hey there, Jay Allen here with Safety FM, where we just don't talk about safety, we live it. And when it comes to safeguarding your future, there's no better partner than Acorns. This part of the show has been brought to you by Acorns and a powerful tool that makes saving and investing easier than ever. We all know that investing can feel overwhelming, especially with busy lives and no time to dive into the nitty-gritty of financial markets, but Acorns changes the game. With Acorns, you don't need to be a financial expert or have a hefty sum of money to get started. In fact, Acorns lets you begin with just spare change. All about those small steps, small investments today that can build into something much bigger over time. Acorns recommends that the expert build portfolio designed to fit financial goals. Then it does the heavy lifting for you by automatically investing your money. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket working around the clock to help your money grow. So why wait? Head over to acorns.com/safetyfm or download the Acorns app and take that first step towards securing your future today. Remember, in the world of safety and investing, small actions today can lead to mighty outcomes tomorrow. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides an incentive to positively promote Acorns. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, and SEC registered investment advisors. View important disclosures at acorn.com/safetyfm. At Safety FM, we're all about making smart decisions on the job and in life. So take control of your financial future. This is Jay Allen reminding you to stay safe, stay smart, and invest in your tomorrow.
If you think local radio sucks, wait till you hear our free-form station, Radio Big.
Where the truth burns louder than the noise. Fire in the static, breaking through the haze. Dr. J. Allen's voice cuts like a blade. No sugar, no fluff, just raw and brave. The truth's got teeth and it won't behave. This ain't cloud, no safety locks. The grind don't stop. The grind don't stop. Ready. Our safety show. Where the chaos and the truth uncovered. Ready. Our safety show. Burning bright where the shadows hide.
Okay.
No fear, just let it go.
Here we go. Some Rated R Safety Show, as you're hearing right now. I'm just telling you, I'm always in shock when stuff like this happens.
Crawling through the night, questions left unanswered.
Well, I have to tell you, I would love to tell you that this one's readily available on different platforms.
It's not for the taint.
No.
This ain't a whisper, it's a roaring flame. Friction spot.
So there you go. Got this little gem yesterday, little Rated R Safety Show. They're calling it the Rated R Safety Show anthem. I have to tell you, I liked it. So there you go. Okay. So thank you. So now I've shared the Rated R Safety Show anthem with you. So let's get moving and grooving. Let me tell you about the most important part that I will ever tell you in my lifetime, and that's about my friends at To Write Love on Her Arms. No matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help, and we want you to know that people have been where you are now, and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to TWLOHA.com. That's TWLOHA.com and click on the section that says Find Help. Once you get there, all you have to do is click on the different dividers. There's some stuff that related to addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorders, self-injury, suicide trauma, grief support, just to name a few. That's TWLOHA.com. To Write Love on Her Arms. So a lot of stuff always going on inside of the world of the multiverse. No doubt about that one for sure. Let's continue talking about some things going on inside of the world of the multiverse, because that is kind of what we do around here. So take a listen to this. According to a new Talker research survey, 2,000 employed Americans, nearly half of their paycheck, 48%, disappears within 2 days of payday, and more than a third is gone by the first 12 hours. The culprit isn't reckless spending, it's survival. Most workers immediately use their paycheck to cover groceries, rents, bills, credit cards, and other essentials that pile up before payday even arrives. Only 28% manage to have anything right away, simply because there's nothing left to save. Younger generations are the hardest hit. Millennials blow through about 40% of their paycheck within the first 12 hours, and more than half of Gen Z admits overspending right after payday. Many aren't careless, they're just crushed by timing. With rent due on the first, credit cards on the third, and car payments due on the fifth, their paychecks vanish faster than they can refresh their banking app. The results of Gen Z rack up about 10 times more overdrafts and late fees than baby boomers, $275 a year compared to $27. And not because they are financially reckless, it's because the system is built for a world that no longer exists. So basically, payday is a just 48-hour rental is what it's sounding like. And at this point, my paycheck needs a tracking number. Direct deposit, more like direct departed is what it sounds like. And by the time I check my balance, it's already a crime. My paycheck doesn't stretch, it evaporates. I'm not living paycheck to paycheck. I'm living from pending deposit to overdraft notice. If money talks, mine just says, bye-bye. So there you go. That's what, that's what it says over there. So there you go. Take a listen to this one real quick before we get into some other stuff. Amazon is quietly testing a new partnership with U.S. Postal Services that lets customers return packages right from their doorstep. No printer, no post office run required. The program, which is rolled out in select markets, allows USPS carriers to pick up eligible Amazon returns weighing 1 to 15 pounds directly from customers' homes. Amazon hasn't revealed the cities that are part of the pilot, but the service could expand nationwide if successful. This marks a win-win for both sides. Amazon adds convenience for customers drawing the and return labels, while the USPS gets much needed financial boost, reporting about $1.8 billion in controlled loss. The agent still is one of America's most trusted institution, has faced mounting uncertainty as President Trump continues to push for privatization of potential merger with the Department of Commerce. So keep that in mind as we are talking. Kind of a weird one as we are talking about it, no doubt about that. So, I mean, I look at it from the standpoint of, okay, interesting concept. Now, if you have ever went to a Kohl's store, you will realize that some of this stuff becomes extremely difficult to do because you have to take the packet. You either have to take a UPS label or USB or an Amazon return label, better saying, and they have to scan it and all that stuff. So how would this work in front of the household? Because I'm sure you're not leaving it on taped and all that other shit as you get there. So that will be interesting to see what ends up happening with that in the long run. Okay, so with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this? Why don't we go ahead and bring in some John Smalls into our life and let him tell us about what exactly is going on with the Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com.
The Motivation Minute.
Today's quote was submitted by Tim. President Richard Nixon said, "The greatest honor history can bestow is the title of peacemaker." I love this. This was sent by my friend Tim. He thought it would be a great quote to share, and I agree. You'll notice President Nixon did not say the title was president. He said peacemaker. Now, he was the president who ended the U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. But he's not remembered for that. He went down in history for Watergate, and the shadows of that have sadly blocked out the many good things he did as president of the U.S. Life is like that. You can do good things for many years, but it takes one bad thing to ruin it all.
The Motivation Minute.
The Motivation Minute, courtesy of GenesisGoldIRA.com and JaceCaseMedical.com. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
Violent clashes resumed in Gaza on Tuesday after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu ordered powerful military strikes in response to what Israel says were ceasefire violations by Hamas.
The move comes just hours after a brief calm in the region and amid ongoing international efforts to mediate a lasting truce. Israeli officials said the new attacks were a direct response to rocket launches and what they call staged hostage discoveries by Hamas. The U.S. was notified in advance of the strikes, Joseph Eckerson reporting.
In Japan, U.S. President Donald Trump signed an agreement with Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi aimed at securing the supply of rare earth minerals, marking a new chapter in economic cooperation between the two countries.
Rare earths are essential components in many high-tech devices and are currently dominated by Chinese production. The deal is seen as a strategic effort by Japan and the U.S. to diversify supply chains and reduce reliance on China, especially given ongoing geopolitical tensions. Benjamin Wright reporting.
Indian authorities have conducted mass evacuations as Cyclone Mantha nears the eastern coastline, forcing thousands into emergency shelters.
Schools across parts of eastern India have also been ordered closed as the storm approaches with high winds and heavy rain expected. Officials say Cyclone Mantha could bring dangerous flooding and widespread power outages to coastal communities. Local agencies are working rapidly to secure infrastructure. Chris Anderson reporting.
Amid the mounting U.S. government shutdown, millions are at risk of losing critical benefits as federal programs, including SNAP food assistance approach funding cutoffs.
Lawmakers in Washington remain locked in negotiations, with no agreement yet reached to end the shutdown. Food banks across the country report rising demand as uncertainty grows for families depending on federal support. If the legislative stalemate continues, more than 40 million Americans could lose food aid as soon as next week. Lawrence Keller reporting.
The U.S. military confirmed strikes against 4 boats in the eastern Pacific Ocean on Monday, targeting vessels suspected of drug trafficking.
The operation resulted in the deaths of 14 people, with one survivor rescued and taken into custody for questioning. Officials state these actions are part of a broader crackdown on narcotics, smuggling through Pacific maritime routes. Navy spokespersons say intelligence sharing with regional partners has improved interdiction rates this year. Kevin Sanders reporting.
Amazon announced layoffs of up to 30,000 corporate employees, an estimated 10% reduction in its office workforce.
The cuts begin today and are expected to impact a range of departments, following previous layoffs attributed to advances in artificial intelligence automation. Amazon CEO Andy Jassy indicated that the layoffs are necessary to streamline operations in a challenging global economy. Employees began receiving notifications early this morning. Jessica Oakley reporting.
And that's the latest news headlines with Alan Edwards.
It's my kind of music. I get the best mix of my favorite music. All on one radio station.
Another wild ride is around the corner on Radio Big.
Okay, wild ride indeed it will be. Let's talk about some things that happened back on this date. As I take a look around, back in 1979, Richard Arrington is elected mayor of Birmingham. In 1988, let's go with that one. The New York Jets finally beat the Pittsburgh Steelers for the first time. Wow, there's a record for that. So there you go. Something to think about as we are talking. No doubt about that. Anyways, let's talk about some news of the weird, because it seems like that would be the right thing to do right now. 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow in water content. You got that? 1 inch of rain equals 10 inches of snow in water content. Okay, if you're looking for something to celebrate today, let's talk about it. Today is National Candy Corn Day. In the late 1800s, George Renninger of Woodley Candy Company created candy corn. His sweet treat represented the bright colors of corn kettle. Originally, candy corn was yellow, orange, and white. However, it wasn't until 1889 when the company made the candy popular. Later, other candy makers developed a variety of popular colors and flavors as well. The original in confection was made to hand using corn syrup, sugar, water, marshmallows, fondant, and canuba wax, a wax made of leaves and palm trees. However, modern candy makers produce the treat using machines while using the original ingredients. These days, the numerous recipes create candy corn flavor in cakes, cookies, beverages, and more. So there you go. What else do we got for you? Things that you ought to know. Should we talk about this? Let's do that. Fed Chair Jerome announced yesterday that the Federal Reserve is cutting the overnight lending rate by an equal percentage point, bringing a benchmark of 3.75 to 4%. The vote among the governors was 10-2. Uber said yesterday that autonomous taxi services is on the way to San Francisco area. Companies officially said that the ride-sharing conglomerate will launch its driverless service later next year in San Francisco Bay region in collaboration with EV producers. So there you go, Lucid Motors and self-driving tech. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum up our time together. At the top of the hour, I will be going over to radiobig.fm if you want to hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. If not, you can hang out here with the likes of Sheldon Primus as he talks about the world of safety consulting. And that's what will happen for you if you're interested in doing that. If not, like I said, I'll be going over there. Thank you for always being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener, because without you, it makes absolutely no sense to do what we do around here. If I can't leave you with a word of advice for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Wrap your earbuds in Wrap your earbuds in a figure 8 around 2 fingers, and then clip with a bread tie. No more nightmares. Think about it. They won't knot together if you do the non-tangled. I'm talking about like the standard earbuds, not the AirPods, just in case. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are solely those of the host and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Safety FM and or Radio Big. The content discussed, including examples of analysis, is provided for illustrative purposes only. It should not be applied as the sole solution in real-world scenarios. as it is based on limited and dated open source information. Any assumptions made during this broadcast, podcast, or radio show are not reflective of Safety FM and or Radio Big. No portion of this broadcast, podcast, or radio show may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, electronic, mechanical, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of Safety FM and or Radio Big. For permission requests, please contact Safety FM or Radio Big directly.
There goes in the white, crawling through the night, questions left unanswered, sparking up a fight. It's not for the faint, it's not for the taint.